Now to an update you'll see only on 4. Tomorrow, the attorneys representing some of the families of the victims of the Tops mass shooting will question the man who sold the weapon to the gunman.
Joining us now is John Elmore. Thank you, John, for being here. This comes after a recent law was upheld by a federal appeals court. So let's start with that law.
Okay, there's a federal law that makes it very difficult to sue gun manufacturers and gun dealers. Okay, New York State, though, has a consumer protection law. It's basically a general nuisance law that applies to gun dealers. And so in the case that came out last week in the Second Circuit Federal District Court, the Second Circuit Court, it's a federal appeals court, one step below the Supreme Court, upheld that statute. And basically what it says is that our law is legal. It doesn't conflict with federal, state law. Our law was drafted after Connecticut's law. If you remember the Sandy Hook case, it was the first lawsuit ever where a gun manufacturer was held liable for a mass shooting, and it had to deal with the way that it was marketed. So if a gun manufacturer markets a product, a gun, in an unsafe way, or if they're negligent in allowing it to get into people's hands, now they can be sued, and that's been upheld by the Second District, which is one level below the United States Supreme Court.
And when we saw this decision being handed down, we immediately reached out to John to talk about the importance of it. John, this is not only an implication in this particular mass shooting at Tops on Jefferson, but this issue seems to come up in almost all of, if not all of, the mass shooting cases that happen in this country. Everyone wants to hold these manufacturers accountable, the armor vests manufacturers accountable, the gun manufacturers accountable. This will open up the gates, at least for the cases in New York. What will it do legally in terms of the implications?
Well, what it does, I mean, we argued our case in the appellate division in the 4th Department in state court, and it was upheld, and where our lawsuit was allowed to continue. And so what this means, at least in our case, that it's going to be much more difficult for the gun manufacturers to go to a federal court and get our case dismissed.
Got it. Okay, so can you explain that? It makes it harder for the manufacturers to get some kind of appeal.
That's correct.
So they couldn't fight this, basically.
Well, listen, they have unlimited resources. They're going to fight everything and throw everything at us that they possibly can, but this makes it a lot, it gives us a little bit of rest and a little confidence that we filed a lawsuit the correct way, and that eventually we're going to prevail on behalf of these people that we represent. And our goal is to make this community safer and the United States safer. There's too many mass shootings. Think about 1974. There were only 5 mass shootings in the whole United States. This year there have been over 300 of them, okay? And so if gun manufacturers and gun dealers have safeguards to make sure that they don't allow guns to get into dangerous people's hands, then society's going to be a lot safer.
Right after this interview, you are driving to the Binghamton area because that is where the Tops mass shooting gunman bought the gun that he used in that shooting. What are you doing in that area? You are speaking to that gun store owner. Tell us about that.
Certainly. I will be the leading attorney questioning Robert Donald. He's the person that owns Vintage Arms, and he sold the weapon to Peyton Gendron. And so in New York, our theory of liability is it's like negligent entrustment, okay? Just hypothetically, say somebody goes into a gun store and they say, when I get this gun, I'm going to go shoot my wife. They're going to be responsible, legally responsible. Not only that, but criminally responsible. So civilly, our allegations are this kid was 18 years old. He bought an AR-15 at 18, spent over $900. There should have been a reasonable inquiry of this 18-year-old. What do you need the gun? What are you going to use it for? And this is a guy that on daily basis, almost 24 hours a day, he was on the internet making, racial, white supremacist comments and hatred. And not only that, but spent a day or two in a mental institution. His classmates describe him as an outcast in school. And so this questioning is going to be, what did you know about this guy? Why did you sell him? Were there any signs? Was he weird? What do you remember? And certainly, if he did give this gun to a person knowing that this guy is kind of weird, kind of dangerous, didn't make a reasonable inquiry, then he would be civilly liable. And that's what we're going to find out tomorrow. And the families that we represent, they deserve to know what happened. This community deserves to know why this 18-year-old who a couple months before killed a cat, a couple months before spent a night in a institution, and the AR-15 is such a dangerous weapon. That weapon, in 1 second, a bullet will travel 600 yards and do massive damage to a human body. It just doesn't go into the human body, but it goes into the human body and just destroys our organs. And so you get hit with an AR-15 and you have no chance for survival. And that's the weapon of choice of these mass shootings.
The liability here in question, is the end game ultimately the person who owns that Endicott shop, or are we talking about someone higher than that person? Because it's not like you're going to get a tremendous amount of money out of that small business owner, but a manufacturer, a gun manufacturer or something like that.
Well, unfortunately, we couldn't sue the gun manufacturer because the gun manufacturer went bankrupt as a result of the Sandy Hook litigation.
Got it. Remington.
That's right.
Understood.
And Bushmaker, which is the gun that manufactured this, they're related.
Got it.
Got it.
So,
All right, John Elmore, this was fascinating. Thank you so much. Good luck to you in the coming days.
okay, thank you for having me.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.